Good day, everyone. My name is Glaidle B, and today we will present to you a panel discussion. For this activity, I will act as an instructor. As an instructor, it is my role to plan and organize the event to make the panel discussion success. Part of my task is to assign the specific role of each member. The role of the moderator is to keep the discussion of the theme and encourages interaction among the members. Speakers give their views about the topic of the theme. Lastly, the audience. Audience can views or question to seek clarifications on the theme. So, let us now proceed to our panel discussion. May I call our moderator, Miss Cyrene Borja.
Good day, everyone. My name is Therese Borja. I'm your moderator of this panel of discussion. For our live panel discussion, we're now having exchanging point of view on how a student view himself or herself in terms of philosophical, anthropological, and psychological perspective. For our house rule, each speaker will be given a maximum of 4 minutes to share their idea on the given topic. Also, the audience have the chance to ask a question on each speaker. Formally start our panel presentation, I want to introduce with you our 3 speakers. We have Miss Jacil Vallescas, Miss Jellien Joy costan, and Miss Kyla Reyes. Also, the rest of our group members will be our audience. For our first speaker, Miss Jacil Vallescas, could you share your idea about our topic in terms of philosophical perspective?
Have a blessed day, everyone. I am Jacil Vallescas, your speaker number 1. So today, I will be discussing to you about how should a student view her or himself. But before that, I will discussing to you first about what is philosophy and what are the measure of philosophy. So, what is philosophy? Philosophy is the fundamental nature of knowledge, reality, existence, especially when considered as an academic discipline. In a simple term of philosophy is love of wisdom. So, there are 3 measures of philosophy. First, theory of reality, and the second is ontology, and the third one is metaphysics. So, what is theory of reality? According to David O. Webster's, it is the evidence for existence beyond the brain and tools of your journey. The ontology, it is the study of being as well as related concepts such as existence, becoming, and reality. And how about the metaphysics? Metaphysics, it is the concept of philosophy to help define the reality or understanding. Did you ever ask yourself if you have a personal philosophy? Because for me, yes. We all have a personal philosophy. Because according to Socrates, that examines how should lived. So as a person, we all have a personal philosophy, that a set of guiding principles that we live by. For example, that believing yourself that you have a talent, skills, that the example of first personal philosophy. Because personal philosophy, it is figure out on who you are, how we are. Philosophy includes things like how you decide what is good or bad. And now, I will proceed to the question that, how should the student view him or herself? How should the student view philosophical perspective in his or her life? So for me, as a student, I viewed my life as a good example as well. Being passionate, being persistent, always think positive, and being responsible, polite, and kind.
Thank you, Ms. Jacil. Now let's hear our second speaker, Ms. Jellien Joy costan, in terms of psychological perspective.
Good day everyone, my name is Jellien Joy and I'm your speaker number 2 for today's discussion. So I will be discussing on how should student view himself in terms of psychology. But before we proceed to our main point, let me just introduce to you what is psychological viewing of self. So in psychology, the notion of the self refers to a person's experience as a single, unitary, autonomous being that is separate from others. So basically speaking, psychology explains our individuality as a person. This includes our experience with continuity through time and place, the experience of the self that includes consciousness of one's physicality as well as one's inner character and emotional life. So as a person, we have different perspective in life, but in terms of psychology, I believe that we all have used the same concept to identify or show ourselves. Using these three psychological views of the self that according to Carl Rogers, it is the self-image, self-esteem, and ideal self. So the question here, what are the use of these three self-concepts? Let me tackle them one by one. So let's start with self-image. Self-image is an internal dictionary that describes the characteristics of the self, including such things as intelligent, beautiful, ugly, talented, selfish, and kind. These characteristics form a collective representation of our assets as our strengths and liabilities as our weaknesses. So in other terms, self-image refers to what we think about ourselves. The second one is self-esteem. Self-esteem is how we value or perceive ourselves. It's based on our opinions and beliefs of ourselves, which can feel difficult to change. We might think of this as our self-confidence. Your self-esteem can affect whether you like and value yourself as a person. And the last one is the ideal self. The ideal self is the person you wanted to be or the person you wanted to become in the future. This person has the attributes or qualities you are either working on or you wanted to possess. It's who you envision yourself to be if you were exactly as you wanted. So, let's now apply the three concepts of psychological views of self to show how should students view themselves in psychological ways. So in my own perception as a student, first, we should view ourselves in positive ways, like accepting our individuality wholeheartedly with our own assets and liability traits. Because the way you view yourself can influence the people around you. That's why if you wanted acceptance, start it with you. Second, you should build a good foundation of self-esteem, especially that this would really give a big impact in our journey for a lifetime, not only just as a student, but a person as a whole. According to American Psychological Association, having a high self-esteem is a key to positive mental health and well-being. High self-esteem matters because it helps you develop coping mechanisms, handle adversity, and put negative into perspective, which is vital for every student to have or possess. And third, you should set a goal and a vision that you'll use as a direction to achieve your ideal self, because this is the main point. As a student, we are technically studying to achieve our individual goals in the future. This includes our ideal self.
You know what? It is quite interesting that they have different thoughts and different perspective as a student. So now, let's hear our final speaker, Miss Kyla Reyes, in terms of anthropological perspective.
The systematic study of humans is known as anthropology, and its objectives include gaining an understanding of human evolution, our uniqueness as a species, and the wide variety of human social structures that exist today and throughout the human history. So, as for me, anthropology is relevant in our daily life. For being a student, It helps us to gain a clearer perspective on our own, learn and shared or at least understood beliefs, practices, and moods of expressions so that we can all understand one another and to avoid also misunderstandings. As for me, anthropology is relevant in our everyday lives. Being a student, it helps us to gain a clear perspective on our own. We all learned and shared, or at least understood beliefs, practices, and moods of expression, so that we could all understand one another and develop peace or prevent misunderstandings. For instance, there are various dialects spoken at our school. Before communicating, we must be aware of these words in order to avoid offending their culture or speaking in an unfriendly manner. Anthropology may provide the answer to our question about ourselves, our past, present, and future. It helps us to connect everyone from around the globe. In some ways, it benefits us to find the similarities and differences between the two cultures. With that, our understanding will grow and we will able to absorb their culture, language, and way of life.
Thank you, speaker, for sharing your thoughts. I also have prepared one question. For you, Miss Jacil Vallescas, my question is, why it is important as a student to study and learn about those perspectives?
Why is it important that we study and learn philosophical, psychological, sociological perspective? It is because it permits us to trace the connection between patterns and events of our own and the patterns and events of our society. And mostly, this three perspective giving us a deeper understanding of human behavior, social norms, morality, and the working of the mind.
How about the other speaker? Do you have any idea? Could you share with us?
For me, studying and learning these different aspects of ourselves can help us know ourselves deeply.
Thank you, speakers. So now I will give the chance to the audience to ask a question for our dear speakers.
How should a student practice in order for them to become a good student?
Sometimes, studying is not enough to become excellent in school. Attitude towards what you are doing affects your performance as well. Every student can do better, or even the best, if only they practice a helpful and healthy routine that would lead them towards success. But here are some steps or ways in order for you to become a good student. Just love what you're doing, have a self-esteem, understand what you read instead of memorizing, and visit some educational sites. Also, it is part of being a good student if your classmate asks for your help and you need to help her or him because in college, we need to help each other for us to succeed.
As a student, is it okay to lie just to protect yourself?
Yes, sometimes we need to lie just to protect from being punished. As a student, lie might be to avoid being embraced or to hide an awkward situation. And when we don't want to feel shame, lying can be considered to protect ourselves, our feelings, but depends on the situation. But being honest, saying the truth, is always win and always better.
How should a student succeed in college?
They must possess an ability of knowing themselves wholly. With this, they can handle both positive and negative situations without thinking of escaping. Because college is not just like elementary and high school. College is all about survival. So in order for a student to survive, finish, and succeed in college, they must have a stable well-being.
For you, what are the characteristics of a successful student?
We all approach college with a different set of challenges and experiences. Being a good student is the key to becoming a successful student. In my opinion, successful students are industrious, patient, persistent, and have the guts to follow their dreams no matter how challenging life may be.
What an exciting exchanging point of views. I really hope that you were able to get some great ideas. Thank you for listening. We really do appreciate your interest in our panel presentation. Good day, everyone. Have a great day.